Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming in the rain and over a long weekend. This is a Chavadi session. Chavadi is a non-partisan platform which facilitates a safe space for conversations and interactions with women litigators on issues of personal interest and professional interest. We have two dear friends as panelists today to speak of something that we don't usually focus on when it comes to matters of physical health. As lawyers, we're always looking at upskilling and refining our legal knowledge, or being up to date with the latest trends, etc. But one thing we do not pay attention to is physical health, and it could start with something like missing meals on a regular basis. I know several people in the audience who regularly eat at 4 p.m. because they are unable to eat in between the court lunch break. There are several of us who don't use the restroom because we don't have clean restrooms. Then there are several of us who have brunch at 5 p.m. And almost, I think 90% of us here do not find the time to look after ourselves, be it yoga, be it a gym, be it any physical activity. I think the only physical activity, safe to say, is running between one court hall to another. It's especially great if you have to run from court hall 19 to court hall 20, which are in two extreme ends. So we have our panelists who are not only busy professionals, but they also taken the time to focus on their well-being and do place primacy on physical health. We have Dr. Ashita Bartur, who is I'm going to look at my notes because it's a mouthful, who's a cardiothoracic radiologist, and she's an assistant professor at Jayadeva Institute of Cardiovascular Sciences and Research, Bangalore. And interesting thing about Ashita is that she played cricket for the state of Tamil Nadu, the under-19 team. Oh, the seniors. Okay. And she still plays a mean game of badminton and cycling and all sorts of physical activity that one could think of. So with her medical expertise, she will also give us a glimpse into her personal health journey. And we have our other panelist is Anupama Hebbar. She's a partner at Keystone Partners. And besides being a lean, mean fighting machine in courts, she's also a mixed martial arts practitioner. And I just learned that she often goes to Thailand for training and has been doing this for the last 2.5 years. So we'd like both of them to take the stage and let us know their personal journey and also address certain issues or questions that we will bring up. Over to you. Anupama will speak first.
Thanks a lot, Nidhi. I'm very grateful to Nidhi for making this happen because I think this is a topic very close to my heart. Anyone who works with me knows that this is a topic very close to my heart. I often talk about it and I place a lot of importance to it personally. And I do believe that as women, we must really prioritize our health. So I'm very glad that Nidhi has created this forum where we are not constantly meeting to talk about the law. And like she said, upskilling, yes, all of that is important. A thing that I like to, often say before I start talking about this is, a lot of us have dreams as lawyers about fighting for justice, fighting against the world, doing the right thing. But you can't fight the world if you're just fighting your body all the time, right? Like if you're falling sick mentally, physically, there's no time, no energy, no stamina to fight the world. So really, we must prioritize physical health. And I like how Nidhi has framed this as a session for litigators, for women, because I do think that as litigators and as women, there are certain things that specifically apply to us. As litigators, of course, we have very little control of our time. I mean, we don't know when matters are going to they're going to come up. We have client meetings. We are in court all day. We don't know if court will get over at 11 o'clock. We don't know if it will get over at 3 o'clock. We don't know 4 o'clock. We don't know where we're going to go next. So necessarily there's a bit of chaos in our schedule, which makes planning that much harder. And as women, I feel that women are very often defined by their roles much more than men. Like women are always mothers first, wives, sisters, daughters, partners in a law firm. And very often we see our performance in light of these roles. And it's very rare that we prioritize ourselves, where we show up for ourselves, where you have individual growth plans, even when you are working. A lot of it is to do with your organization, your career, and as everything that's external to you, right? Physical health, I feel, is one area where it's about you. It's your time, it's me time, it's your priority, it's something that you do for yourself. And I think to show up for yourself that way is very important, which is why this forum and this conversation is very important. Now, fitness itself, as I see it, there are multiple ways, right? There's, of course, the main aspect of physical fitness, which we're going to talk about more. There is mental health, which, there are several other sessions where Nidhi has spoken about it, has got people to speak about it. It is equally important in and of itself and as a adjunct to physical health, because if a lot of your motivation comes from being in a good place, right? A lot of people who suffer from mental health challenges also find it very hard to take care of their physical health. It has a direct bearing on your physical health, as also an indirect bearing in the sense of motivation to go and do something, spend that extra hour to take care of yourself is hard. So it is important. I also find it very important as litigators, as lawyers, to take care of your spiritual health, which is that, you want to do something that satisfies your soul, that makes you happy. It may be something that's connected to your physical health. Like I find it really invigorating to punch a bag, but may not be for everybody. But I think even that aspect of health is something that everyone should spend some time to think about. We may go into it today, we may not go into it today, but I do think that when you talk about fitness, you're talking about physical fitness, you're talking about mental health, you're talking about spiritual health, which, people ignore very often, like meditation or just doing something that makes you truly happy and joyous, right? No, I mean, there isn't that much to say that all of you probably don't know, haven't read on Instagram posts, haven't heard about. And I doubt anybody in the world is going to say you're taking care of physical health is a bad thing. There are really no flips to this, right? There are only positives. There's only maybe just talking about it can motivate you. There's really nothing that I'm going to say that's new. So if I were to start with how does it help? So there are many ways in which it directly helps. Number one being stress. We are in an extremely stressful job. One, the time stress, just of physically showing up for your job, preparing for your matters, coming there, reading, upskilling yourself, just the pressure of competing with everyone else, constantly, especially if you're a litigator, constantly being in that right versus wrong position where you're always like, I need to win against that person's case versus mine. So that puts you in a position of stress, whether you like it or not. You're not in a job that is very, how do I say, that's very friendly, right? You're always in that position where you're defending your position or you're attacking someone else's position. So that necessarily creates an added level of stress that is over and above the stress that just merely being a career person gives. Now, along with that, many of you may have children, may have other obligations, which really take up a lot of mental space. And when I speak of priority, often I've realized that priority is not so much about time, it's about the mental space. Most people have the time. Because, I mean, doing a workout can be as simple as 15 minutes, right? You just go on YouTube, you'll find 115-minute workouts. You could just literally do. I remember during COVID, I didn't really want to go outside too much, so I used to just climb the stairs up and down my building. Really, time is not the issue. The issue is mental space. It's the ability to find that energy to do that, to prioritize your physical health. So doing something like this really helps manage the stress around it. Of course, physically working out, at least for me, makes me feel good. I'm sure Asta can speak more about how it works chemically, but I'm sure there are a lot of endorphins. There's a lot of neurological reasons why just working out makes you probably feel good. Um, Another aspect maybe that it's just time to yourself, right? Usually I tend to keep my phone away at that time. I get like a gazillion WhatsApp messages. I tend to keep my phone away at the time that I'm working out, and I'm just focusing on what I'm doing at hand. And if I say go for a swim, I'm focusing on just not dying in the water. I'm a terrible, terrible swimmer. But whatever it is, it gives my mind that break. For that half an hour, 1 hour, whatever it is, I'm not thinking about things. So that's how it helps me feel good at the end. Um, of course, physically, it helps to fight diseases. I'm sure everyone knows it keeps your body healthy, it keeps your muscles healthy, your joints. Uh, it again, I'll defer to her on how it probably helps better to fight diseases, but I doubt anyone in this room will argue with that proposition. One thing Nidhi had specifically mentioned in the description of the post, which is burnout. And I certainly think that burnout is something that more people face than we realize or we acknowledge. I just turned 40 this year, and I know that suddenly all these ideas of what is a burnout. I mean, it's also my Instagram AI popping out all of this to me, but it does feel very real because you can feel your body slowing down, you can feel your mind slowing down, you can feel yourself getting more harder to multitask, harder to see what really brings you joy, right? And I'm sure everyone here in the audience who has kind of gone on the wrong side of 35 will agree that it does get more challenging after 40. It may be because your body is aging, it may be because you're just tired of the 17 years of being a lawyer, whatever it might be. But burnout is very real. And I do believe that having a physical outlet, keeping your body healthy, your joints, your mind healthy, is a very crucial aspect of avoiding this burnout. Um, Resilience. I do think that playing a sport, any type of sustained physical activity builds resilience. I used to do CrossFit a few years ago, and like two lasting things that I've taken from my CrossFit days are one, a very severely injured shoulder, unfortunately. And second, the fact that CrossFit really taught me to say that I can do one more rep. Like I can just do one more. Like 10 more seconds of holding the squat is not going to kill me, right? So that kind of resilience of knowing that I just have this one more in me, I can do it and I'll get through to the other side. I genuinely do credit CrossFit for that. I'm sure sports does that as well. It teaches you to push just a little bit harder when you're right at the end. And that does carry forward to your work. There will be times when you have to spend nights preparing for a matter, and it just helps you to have that sense that let me just do a little bit more when it's needed. Of course, don't spend all your nights working. That's not good for you. This is, I mean, just a tip of the iceberg of how it helps. I'm sure each of you can find ways in which it helps you at an individual level. Now, I think the bigger challenge is really how do I do it? Like I said, I doubt anyone believes that concentrating on physical health is a bad thing. I don't think we need to debate what the benefits are. But the bigger challenges that I have seen amongst colleagues is I just don't have the time. How do I do it? I just can't. I won't do it today. Just today, I'm going to skip. I'll start next week. I'll do it definitely from first I'm going to begin. Let me just have this piece of cake. Let me just do this. Today I've had a stressful day. Let me just order Maggie. This is common, right? And no judgment there. I mean, it is what we all feel. How do I do it? And especially people with children, I cannot even imagine. I don't have children, human children, I have or dogs. But it is very hard. It is definitely very hard because without a doubt, your family will be a priority. But there are some hacks that I use personally to make it a priority. One is that I tell myself that is indeed a priority. Like I said, most often than not, it's not the time, it's a mental energy. So you have to tell yourself that this is priority. If I'm not in fighting shape, then there's nothing I can do for anyone else around me. I can't do anything for my colleagues. I can't do anything for my family. If I have a bad back, I can't sit and do a matter that requires me to spend 12 hours a day. If I have a bad back, I can't pick up my child and play with them. There are whatever life is, right? Like if you're not fit, you can't do life. It's as simple as that. And you don't want to be 40, 45 with a bad back, constant headaches, not feeling good about yourself. um, I also personally like to do it first thing in the morning because I find that the easiest to do. And the one thing I tell everybody is have a fixed schedule for physical activity. Making it vague never works. If you say, today I'll do whenever I get time, you will not get time. It's always easier if you have a fixed time. If you say, from 7 to 8, I'm going to do it, come what may. And you tell everyone in your life, your boss, your partner, your kids, your family, whoever it is, right? That 7 to 8, I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be having a swim, I'm going to go work out, I'm going to play something, whatever it is. If you have a fixed time, there are higher chances you're going to make it. I have rarely met anyone who's consistent in their physical training and yet switches the time. Like I'll go today in the morning, tomorrow in the evening. I've met very few people. I'm sure there are people who are strong-willed enough to do it, but I personally am not one. So habit over motivation. That is really a hack. Anything that you make a habit, you're more likely to do. It may be 3 days a week. That's it. It may be it may be Saturday, Sunday. It may be evening. It may be night. It may be morning. Doesn't matter. But habit over motivation is what I have seen works. The other thing that helps a lot of people is community. Having a community that does it. Why do a lot of people pick sport? Because sport is very engaging. Sport fosters a community. So you may go, like the gym that I go to, everyone makes it a point to go for a cup of coffee after their workout. Everyone meets, takes that 10 minutes, has a bit of a chat. People have coffee, people have juice, whatever. But I have seen people move faster, move quicker because they don't want to miss that coffee session with their friends, right? And having a community makes each of you accountable. So if you don't come, you feel bad that, oh my God, I've asked that person to come and I can't come, right? Like if she has a badminton game, it's not just her, someone else is waiting to play with her. So someone else is holding her accountable to that. And you really want that time. You want that time to yourself to meet with those friends. So community helps a lot of people be honest and actually turn up. The other thing I like to tell people is make it easy and accessible. Don't look for a fancy gym that's far away. You're not going to go. Make it something that's easy. It may be just taking a walk with your dog. It may be just climbing up and down stairs while you listen to a podcast. It may be anything. But the easier it is and the more accessible it is, the higher the chances that you're going to stick to it. The harder it is to get to, the more complex it is, there are chances that you're not going to make it. Don't look for that perfect opportunity, right? Just look to start with whatever is easy, next to you, convenient. That's why I highly recommend that when people join a gym, they join something next to their office or next to their house. Anywhere else, the chances that they're going to go, unless they're a full-blown gym rat, highly unlikely. Or find someone to come home, whatever it is. But find something that's accessible and easy because the chances of you sticking to it and being consistent is much harder, much more. And of course, find something that you like. If you hate doing push-ups in the gym, don't do it. There are 100 other ways to work out. You can walk, you can take the steps, you can cycle, you can play a sport, you can swim, you can do yoga, you can do literally anything you want. Anything that you like, dance, Zumba, whatever it is that you like, right? Find the one thing that you find enjoyable. Once you start realizing how good your body feels when you move and you work out, how good your mind feels, how much more stress you're able to manage and deal with, you'll just stick to it. And that is really very true for anybody I know who has managed to be consistent for a few months, has stuck to it no matter how hard it is for them, otherwise, because they've understood how their body responds once they're being consistent. Now, another very important aspect of physical fitness is also rest. as Nidhi said, we definitely probably are not getting enough rest. I I don't know a lawyer I've met who says like sleeping enough. I simply don't know a single lawyer who. Most people I know is this weekend I don't have work, so I'm going to sleep. And I don't know if that really works. I don't know if sleep debt is a thing that works. That you can afford to not sleep through the week and just sleep in on a Saturday. And people who have families, who have kids who probably can't even afford that luxury. So prioritizing rest and finding that balance between doing a workout versus resting is really something that also should be at the back of your mind. You should also not be, sleeping for 4 hours and working out every day. That's probably not good. Um, Another, I think, very important thing, I do this, I think it's worth talking about, is how to draw boundaries around other things. So when you make physical health and rest a priority, it necessarily means that you might have to say no to other things, whether it's work, whether it's taking on that one extra matter, whether it is saying no to a social obligation, whether it's saying no to drinking the night before you have a sparring session the next morning, something, whatever it is, right? There may be boundaries that you have to draw. There may be things you have to say no to, and you have to really get comfortable around that. The people that I know on my age group who consistently work out often say no to social obligations that they otherwise would have done in their younger days, right? They would have gone out a lot more probably. But they now just say, look, I can't obviously say no to my children and to my family. So social obligations, something that I might have to say no to. So these are also boundaries that you might have to draw when it comes to physical fitness. I'm just trying to be practical because I know that it's very easy to say we must all work out, but really these are things that will get impacted when you start making your health a priority, and that's the reality of what we live in, right? Um, Food choices, I think, and if you plan to cover some bits of nutrition, so I'm not really going to talk about it because I'm genuinely not qualified. Other than saying, yes, you must eat on time, I encourage all my colleagues to not skip lunch because they are stuck in court. At least carry like a protein bar with you guys in your coat pocket so that you don't skip food. I mean, work will always be there. Once in a while, yes, I've also done it when I was, a junior and I was running around. But now I'm like, forget it. No, I'm going to go back to the office. I'm going to eat my lunch and I'm not going to eat nonsense in court. I'm not going to eat samosa in the NCLT basement, come what may. So, also because, like I said, I turned 40, so it became just so much more important. But food choices do play an important role in physical health and eating on time. And this was actually something that I faced personally because my gym is next to the office. When we moved into this office, we broke down a toilet and we built a shower so that people can go work out and come and shower in the office, so you don't have to go back home and then come, etc. Or if you want to run in the park, you can come and shower in the office. And then I tried to ensure that I have dinner early because, there were all these things about how having dinner early is good and you should not be eating very late. And then I realized that I was having all 3 meals at work. And that was very depressing for me, but I did do it for some time. I'm still now not very good with having dinner on time. I do end up having dinner quite late before I sleep. But that was, again, like I said, a conscious choice. I did it because I just could not do 3 meals in office. I just wanted to go home and have dinner with my husband or while watching a TV show. So that's okay, right? I mean, you don't have to do 100% to be fit. You can do small things. You can take small steps. You can cheat a little here and there. It's not even a cheat, really. You can just enjoy some of life's pressures along with it, as long as for most of the time you're consistent, or at least you have a few other good habits that kind of offset some of the other things that you may not be doing very well. Um, then really coming on to what is it that you should be doing, right? When you talk about physical health, the one thing I really want to stress on is strength training. 100% women should be doing some form of strength training. some form of um, strength training really involves some weight, whether it's body weight strength training, whether it's using external weights, whatever it is. There's obviously cardiovascular training, your typical running, cycling, swimming, those kind of training that is really good for your heart. Also important, but I do believe strength training is very, very important, especially for women, because women lose muscle mass, especially more so. I think probably applies to men also. Um, but women tend to lose a lot of muscle mass, especially as they're growing older. So to retain this muscle mass, in my opinion, is very, very important. It helps your joints, it helps your overall health, and it really keeps you going for much longer. I know people who've been doing strength training consistently, and now even at the age of 65 are so fit, are they don't have joint pains, they don't have joint aches. And in fact, I know a lot of lawyers as well at my age who will be like, I have a back pain, I have knee issues, and I'm just happy to say I have none of that. And I do believe it's because of consistent weight training. A lot of women are, for some reason, scared of weight training, or they feel that they're not strong enough. Or I've even heard variations, oh, it'll make me look muscular. Just it really doesn't matter what it makes you look like, because I do believe at the end of the day, it's important what you do, not what you look like. But yes, it does not make you look muscular. You'll have to do some serious weightlifting to look muscular. No matter how much I try, I can't seem to get my quad muscles to grow. So I can say that really you will not become muscular by some weight training. But I do think that some amount of weight training in your schedule, whatever it is, even yoga is really weight training because you use a lot of body weight in many yoga poses, or your regular calisthenics, which is body weight training without any external weights. It's really, really very important. Then you should be doing regular health checkups, checking where you're at, figuring out physiologically what your markers look like. I think it's very important. Um, Again, nutrition, where you eat to fuel yourself. You don't eat to lose weight. You don't eat to look a certain way, or you don't eat just to feel good, but you eat to fuel yourself. And that's really very important. Um, and for this, you have to improve your relationship with food. I, for one, have a terrible relationship with food, I will admit. I eat sugar whenever I'm happy, whenever I'm sad, whenever I'm angry. And anyone who's in my office will testify to this, that sugar is my go-to for all things, really. Um, but improving your relationship with food will go a long way in keeping you fighting fit. Um, and for any and all of this, there are professionals available, honestly. There's professionals for mental health, there's professionals for physical health, there are professionals for nutrition. And I feel that professionals really help in two ways. Number one, that they're professionals, so what they say means a lot more than what, say, I say. I just speak of personal experience. And secondly, legitimately, if you pay for someone's services, you're likely to listen to them more. That's a fact. And even as lawyers, you know this, when you give free advice to clients, they don't give, oh, it's recorded, so they, they don't care. They simply do not value free advice. People don't value free advice. The minute you pay a nutritionist, the chances that you're going to make changes, the minute you pay a coach, the chances that you're going to turn up for that session, the minute you pay a therapist, the chances that you're going to listen to what they're saying is much higher. And so if sometimes you feel that you're not able to find the motivation yourself, you're not able to make the habit yourself, just take some money and throw it at the problem. And then you'll feel so bad that you've paid like so much money to a nutritionist that you'll make at least some effort. Yeah, that's really all I had to say. And like I said, the last part about, I just did want to talk about making your soul happy, because I think it's important. A lot of times we don't prioritize these things because we're genuinely just not very happy inside. We are just tired. We are constantly like, oh God, this is just another chore. It's drudgery. But if you take some time out to do things that really make you happy, you will see it kind of stacking benefits. Like personally, I love being, I love working with animals, and I love being in the forest, in nature. So I find that just a weekend away in the forest really makes me so happy that I'm able to come back and kind of get my priorities straight and actually do it. So concentrating on some of these things, your mental health, your soul, like some serious me time really actually pushes you to take care of the other things. Because like I said, there is no argument that it's good for you. But what is the link between knowing that it's good for you, but yet not prioritizing it? So what is this cognitive dissonance that exists in the middle, right? That's what we have to tackle. And once you find that link, it'll just happen, is my belief. So yeah, that's really yeah. And now since I started doing mixed martial arts, I've started to enjoy it so much that I actually have started prioritizing going to Thailand and spending serious time there, where we train for 4-5 hours a day. It's brutal, and I'm far behind all of those young kids in their 20s running around, and it's terrible. It's terrible. I cannot even begin to tell you. But because I'm enjoying it so much, I'm doing it not because I want to become the next Bruce Lee or whatever, but I just now genuinely enjoy it. So it brings me so much joy that it's a serious passion outside of work. So if I have a bad day, I know that I have an MMA class tomorrow morning, and that's going to help me just get over that bad day. So yeah. You
I know the mic. I just said one. When did you start? Just follow through. When did you start getting into this physical fitness thing? And was there a change as an associate and then a senior associate maybe, or a partner when you were your own boss? Because we also have mixed range of women here. So in terms of where they are in their career, that is also crucial. I'll probably ask this to Ashita also, but since you are in the legal profession,
Yeah.
when did you start your journey when it came to taking your physical health seriously, and how did it change as you grew in the profession?
Right. Actually, important point. So I mean, even in college, I used to play some sports, etc., but never very seriously. I didn't take it seriously. I started when I started working. I used to work outside India before, and then when I moved back and I started litigation in 2000, end of 2011, like early 2012, is really when I started taking it very seriously, because I could feel that just working for 12, 14 hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week was starting to take its toll. So that's when I started. Again, that time I used to do it very early in the morning because I knew my day would start really early. So other than say 7 in the morning, I did not expect any other time where people wouldn't be calling me, texting me, asking me to do things. I had very less control over my schedule, as many people who are associates at junior level will realize. And if something had to be done, I had to do it. I didn't have the choice of telling my boss that, no, I'm not going to do it. But as I grew in the profession, I had a lot more ability to move things around, especially as a partner. I have a lot more ability to say no to things and say that, no, I'm not going to be available. And the hope is that in our organization, we can enable even associates to reach that level. It is definitely harder when you're younger. And it's also, I believe, harder because your bodies are much more responsive, so you don't really realize the damage you're doing to them. But I will admit, honestly, that it is easier as I've become a partner. And even as a senior associate, got easier than as an associate, because there was a lot more trust built within the organization that I would do my work even if I've taken like an hour in between to work out. But like I said, the only thing that helped me was creating a habit around it. If I had let myself believe that today, okay, I think I'll probably finish court at 3 o'clock, so I'll quickly step out at 3:30 for a run and come back, it's never going to happen. To find that one time slot and communicate it clearly that this is a time slot I am unavailable makes a huge difference to actually making it happen, especially when you're an associate, is what I believe. And I was still a little irregular then. I do think I've become a lot more regular in the last 8 years that I've been a partner at Keystone, which is, it's been easier because of the people I work with. They're a lot more accommodating, and it's, I'm a partner there, so I'm able to regulate my time. I will admit that. But yes, I think as associates, it's important to communicate. It's important to say that this to this time, I'm not going to be looking at my phone. I'm not going to be available, but I'll get to it at 8 o'clock.
Sit down and West. Yeah, you can clap.
All right. So I never ever knew that litigators and doctors have a similar life. And this is the first time that I'm actually talking to a group of lawyers here and on a topic of my interest too. But I don't think I have anything to add to what you've actually said. So, as a doctor, other than getting into medical jargons, I think she summarized everything that seems to make sense to my life too. If anything I could just give you a background of how I grew up and how I brought in physical activity into my life. Probably some of you may share similar experiences, but basically, I was a sportswoman from when I was a kid. So it was something that was free. I think it just made me feel free and made me feel like there was nothing that could get in the way of me and achieving what I wanted to in sports. And there was nothing about about people scoring me on how I performed and how I didn't. And it was either a group sport or or an individual sport, and anything, sports, I was there. Whether it was athletics, whether it was, a running race. I'm not a marathon runner. I believe in adrenaline even now. So basically, it's always been a sprinter or probably if it's athletics or high jump or long jump or and if you take group sports, then cricket or if you take individual sports, that's badminton. So I've been into anything and everything. It was more like in my school. Luckily, I was in a school which encouraged sports too. And if you just, ask, okay, who wants to play the sport? And my hand would be up. Who doesn't want to attend classes? My hand would be up. I've hardly attended any classes in my school. So I was known for that, And yeah, I became a doctor where now, everything else seems to be taking a backseat. But yeah, so I grew up like that, and that was that was what I enjoyed most. And I think I was at the peak of playing cricket when I actually left and went to do medicine. And I think that was basically because I made the decision. My parents were really, really cool in the sense that they were like, do whatever you want. And I'm like, oh my God, that's a difficult decision to make. Can someone make the decision for me? Because I really enjoy playing. But then, in my own head at that point in time, I just looked around me and around, looking at who was doing well and whether women's cricket was was glamorous, would make me my money, would be a breadwinner for me. Would I be, because I never even, thought that women's cricket would come to the level that it is right now. But whatever it is, I made the decision of giving all the entrance exams. I didn't know what I wanted to become at that point in time. But then I gave all my entrance exams, and my grandfather was a doctor, and then, it skipped a generation. So I gave anything and everything, all entrances. And then finally, I decided I want to become a photographer. I was waiting for someone from National Geographic to come back to Chennai to take me with him as an apprentice and become a photographer. And then meanwhile, I'd anyway given biology in my 12th, and I had given all my entrances in Karnataka as well as Tamil Nadu. And then I woke up one day saying, I've gotten into hotel management, I've gotten into NIFT, I've gotten into, I went and attended all interviews. And then suddenly I woke up one day saying, I actually got through sports quota, and I was the 11th rank in Tamil Nadu state because I played at the national level. And when I went for the interview, I'd not given my biology in my entrances in Tamil Nadu because I was super tired of biology by the end of 12th. And they were like, oh, you have a medicine seat. Why don't you take a medicine seat? I'm like, but I haven't given my entrances. She was like, what? You've not given your biology entrance after taking biology in your 12th? So I was like, no, I haven't. So they were like, okay, so what do you want to take? There's computer science. I'm like, no, I want to take mechanical engineering. So I actually did mechanical engineering in Anna University for a month. And then, one fine day, they woke me up saying that you can get a medical seat for your rank in Karnataka. So I'm like, oh, really? Okay, let's go for the interview. So that's how I ended up taking medicine, and it wasn't that I knew exactly what I wanted to do, but it was something that I went through. I experienced everything, and I decided that, okay, this is something that I'm ready to experiment, and life just took that direction for me. Or rather, I just made myself take that direction. And I'm totally responsible for my decisions. And once I got into medicine, I started playing badminton again, because I played badminton at the district level and I went to the national level in cricket. So I decided, okay, I cannot not play, because playing, like she rightly said, right, is the time that I do not give attention to anything else. It is just me, my sport, my game, my energy, and it's my me time. It's like meditation for me. It's and when I play a sport, right? I'm not a big gymmer. I've tried so many times, but it's never happened for me. But the thing is, as she rightly said again, strength training is really important. And as you grow older, your muscles get weaker, your tendons get weaker. You need to keep your joints going and everything. And strength training is a part of it. But anyway, for me, sports is something where I can aim at something, and it's a short aim that I can have. I work really well with short goals. So if I have to play a game, I come here. Everyone knows me here in the badminton court for a person who comes at 7 in the morning and does not talk to anyone, plays with a marker, plays with whoever it is, leaves in 45 minutes exactly. So this is how I am, because I do not have any other time in my in my life to play, or to even say, like she rightly put it, if there is no habit, it is so difficult to get back. And there are so many ups and downs in our lives, and so many times that, life just takes over, whether it's work, whether it's studies, it's work, it's family, everything takes priority at some point in time in our lives. And once you lose that habit, to get back to it is another, another habit that you need to build. So I think for me, what works is also first thing in the morning. But I cannot wake up really early because I stay up really late. I guess after listening to a litigator's life, I don't see any difference between what you guys do and what we guys do in terms of the amount of hours and energy that you spend on doing a lot of things. Sleep does take a backseat when you want to do these things, because there are so many other things that we want to do. But then, there is something that if you want to give priority to this, you'll need to give up on a few other things. You'll have to give a backseat attitude to something else, So there's no way that you can give in your 100% to everything. And I don't know if any of you have read about the Ikigai philosophy. I think it's super interesting. There's a place called Ogimi in Japan, which has the most number of centenarians, and it's called the City of Centenarians. And what they do is basically they keep themselves active even at 96. They do something they love, they go, they have friends, they have people who like each other, they keep interacting, they work even at 96, they sew, they do something or the other at 96, and they have their own type of physical activity even at 96 or 100 years. So, and that city is called the City of Centenarians. It has the maximum number of centenarians in the world. And the philosophy, I think, resonates with me really well. And I guess it may resonate with a lot of you really well, because, it's, I think, for a working professional, it talks about how you have to prioritize on a lot of things in order to reach your goal. It's about ikigai is nothing but what you love, to do what you love. And if you know what you love and continue doing what you love, you'll never feel like you're tired or it's about reaching that state of flow where you never feel like you're tired, So as you find your ikigai, right? All of us find our ikigai. There are these things that you need to prioritize, and health is one of them, because if you're not healthy, you cannot find something that you love. You need that strength to keep going, So, and a lot of us have not been like me into sports. Okay, so for me, it comes really easy. But even then, when I was doing my medicine, I did play, and for me, playing makes me do something else. If I do not play, or if I do not do that physical exercise, I don't have the mental strength to go on and on with something else. So it was like that even in my MBBS. I used to play and then study. Play and then study. That's how it used to be. Then you were asking the question about junior versus senior and stuff, right? So in our life, right, as doctors, it depends on whether you're on the academic side or you're in the corporate world. Okay, so in the corporate world, you do not have as many hands to help you as compared to the academic side. If you're on the academic side, you always have students under you. You always have, as you grow more senior, you have other people to do a little bit of your work, and you go more into admin, and you go more into teaching, and you do less work in terms of reporting and doing clinical work. But if you're on the corporate side, your name grows bigger, more work gets added onto you. But there are a few of us, even on the academic side, have ambitions, have goals, want to get research going. You want to make sure that you're doing what's state of the art, and if you want to do anything more than what your work actually asks you to, it goes into your extra time. So there is nothing that you can do about it. So as a junior, or during my MBBS, I did that. I played as well as studied. And my only responsibility was to study and score well and clear the exam. And all that I knew, I did, but then I could play and do it because I didn't have any other responsibility. I was not going to kill patients at that point in time, But the thing is, after my studies, when I started working, right, I had more pressure in terms of giving the right report, making sure it doesn't go wrong. So the amount of responsibility just kept increasing. So the pressure that I put on myself to not go wrong kept increasing, right? And keeps increasing. As a junior, if you make a mistake, you always have someone who's a senior looking over what you're doing in order to make sure that it's all okay. And you keep learning. It's practice of law and practice of medicine, right? You can go wrong in some things, but then you learn through your mistakes. And you always want to make sure it's not a mistake that is absolutely, risking someone's life. So when I started my work after my studies, my initial studies, basically what I did was I used to cycle to work. So that, because I don't have any other time. I used to work nights, I used to do, so as a senior, you don't have to do nights anymore, but you take on other responsibilities. But as a junior, we had to do nights, and we had to do 24-hour calls, and, and have a lot of, like, the pressure of making sure we're always right? But the thing is, we always have that, we're still a junior, we're still learning and stuff. So the only time that I could find is while going to work and while getting back home. So all that I did was cycle. So I cycled to work and I cycled back home. So that was good enough. And I worked in Columbia Asia, what was Columbia Asia at that point in time in Yashwantpur, and I used to work in Baptist. So I used to cycle about, say, 20 kilometers a day. And so that kept me going, and food, it's exactly like you guys. Food is never a priority for us. However much we may really, advise people as to eat healthy, but, eat on time. We don't eat on time, just like you guys, And again, work takes over. So the little time, what I've realized right now is having a cook at home makes a huge difference. Having packed lunch makes huge difference. Okay, makes a huge difference. And having all, like, whenever you feel like snacking, right? I mean, I feel like snacking all the time too. But the thing is, for that snacking time, like in my pregnancy, when I was craving like crazy and I knew I would get hungry like every now and then, I used to pack, like I used to have a cook, and who I used to ask to pack fruits, all kinds of fruits in small boxes. I don't mind carrying boxes, but I need someone to do that work, So having a cook at home, making sure that you pay them well and making sure that the nutrition that goes into you is the healthiest nutrition makes a whole lot of difference at work. Have everything in your bag in order to, okay, if you feel like snacking, you have it. Unless it's a craving, obviously, if you need some sugar, you go. But then if you can take a mug of coffee from home, you take it. You don't have to go to the shop next door, which gives samosa and buttermilk and whatever, which happens in our hospital too. So because once you go to that shop, you have other things which are tempting too in that shop, right? And you see other people, you have friends, you have to socialize, and then you'll see them, why don't you have a cup of tea with me? And then you'll have people who don't do it say, okay, you're not having tea with sugar? Oh, okay, are you dieting? You have people who don't do it, judge you, and then you're like, okay, should I just I don't want to hear all that. Let me just take tea with sugar, So there are so many things that act on your mind but having a cook who will give you all your boxes, who will, paying them well to take care of your needs, however you want to be, whether it is keto that you're following, whether it's calorie restriction that you're following, whether it's just a healthy diet that you're following, whether it's just regular meals and you like your regular meals that you're following, just making sure that only those ingredients are available for that cook to cook will just make, your life easier, and taking all these boxes to work will make sure that your life is again easier. When you crave, you need to just go to your room, and or take a little box with you in your pocket or something like that, of fruits. And, when you get a break, just have it. So I do such things now. About 7 years back, when I was running a 10K, I realized that, I didn't feel really healthy, and I was actually adding on weight when I was running a 10K rather than not. And I was the heaviest that I was at any point in time in my life. How is that even possible? Am I eating? That's when I started looking at one of these health, not health apps, but one of these dieting apps, that's available. And that was based on calorie restriction. So I just logged in my food to even get an insight on what I'm eating. Because according to me, I'm super healthy. In my mind, I don't know anyone else who's healthier in terms of being so conscious about what I do, what food I have, and everything. But then I realized that even a chapati with the oil that we make with versus a cup of rice is the same amount of calories. It's just that your glycemic index may be different, but then it's the same amount of calories. So you just have to make sure, logging in that app and just realizing what I was eating and how much calories was going in and where I was going wrong helped me a lot. And even till now, I'm sustaining the weight that I lost at that point in time. So it's actually sustainable like that. It's not that I'm logging in right now. I have had dips and my really, really strong times in my life. So this is about a junior. When I was a junior and I had to spend a lot more time working was when I used to cycle to work. And then I went abroad to study. And when I went abroad to study, I already had a 5-month-old kid. And my husband took a year off and came with me and took care of my kid while I was studying. So even there, it was 7 to 7. There was just no way that I could, with the kid at home and with the guilt that my husband had, come with me and, I was taking care of the kid while I was working, I just didn't do anything. I decided that I'm not going to, but only thing is there abroad, there are many more options in the canteen or in your, a food area or food court or whatever you call it, at your workplace, because you have salads, you have like Mediterranean, you have like a lot of different things. So you can actually go to a salad place. But I used to make sure that during working hours, I would eat something that's healthy, like a salad or something like that, because after that and before that, there was just no time, and I would skip breakfast. So I don't know if it's the right thing to do, but for me, the right thing to do is to skip breakfast, and it's not difficult to skip breakfast. And there are a lot of things about being healthy and not skipping breakfast, and there's a lot of debate about the skipping breakfast part of it, but it works for me. I'm doing it. And that's the time that I wake up, I get the kids ready, and I go to work, and I don't feel hungry once I go to work. The time that I actually feel hungry is when I stop work and I get back home. And that time, whatever is in front of me, I will eat, because my mind is not anymore rushed, and the craving sets in. But otherwise, when I have the adrenaline going about being in work and being at work, and hunger is not even, it's secondary. I don't even have to eat even a morsel of food to get through work. But the thing is, the minute I finish work and I sit down on a chair is when I realize, oh my God, I'm actually tired and I'm actually hungry. So that's when anything and everything in front of me. So what I do is I make sure that as soon as I come back home, I have nothing unhealthy sitting in front of me. If there is I don't keep any junk in my house. So, sad for my kids, but I don't give them any junk. So, so when I went to, for a year for my fellowship to Toronto, I didn't really do any physical activity, but I did run a 5K. There was a 5K run, and I decided, okay, this is the way to get back to physical fitness. And I ran a 5K, and then I realized, okay, it's not happening. There was a lot of stress at the workplace. So I was like, okay, just forget about it, and let me just take it lightly. Because there are times in your life when you're so stressed because of either work or family. There are many things that can stress us, and we do not have the mental capacity to make this space for physical activity. And you can take a break. But when you take a break, make sure that your eating habits are healthy, right? If you're not doing one thing, the other thing, you will have to compensate with another thing. Otherwise, if you go totally, no physical activity, eating is also, is not healthy, then you're never going to be able to come back easily. And then it's a vicious cycle. You're like, oh my God, I've added too much weight, or I've become too unhealthy. Now it feels like a long way to just come back to where you were. So trying to compensate one with the other kind of helps you cope with life. So that's what I did. I started eating a little more healthier when I was there rather than doing physical activity. Then I dropped my kids and husband and went back to another fellowship in Boston. So when I went back for another fellowship, I was alone, without a kid, a husband, in-laws, parents, brothers, anything. I did not have any responsibility, no baggage at all. And that was the best time in my life. And during work, I was studying. They know it themselves, they all know it. So anyone who knows it, knows it. knows it, So it felt like the best time, because that was the first time after a long time I was by myself. And that's when I realized that me time is so important. And all of us need a break. Shamelessly, we need that break. We don't have to. We don't have to deal with everyone all the time, right? And when I got that break of 4 months, I was studying, and I studied like no one's business. I got everything right in my studies, okay? And in that time, I used to take 1 hour off during in between my cases to go to the gym. And as she said, my gym was right next to my hospital. Okay, so I could just go in between cases, get a workout, and come back. And in the morning, if I didn't have that time in between cases, I would go in the morning. But that was the only time in my life that I didn't have to look at which time that I go in the morning, because I had all the time to myself. I had evenings to myself. I had mornings to myself. I had, the time in between cases for myself. But that's because I didn't have any other commitments in my life other than studies, which I was responsible for, health, physical fitness, which I was responsible for. I don't have anything else to be responsible for, right? So those two took priority, and I was the healthiest ever. So when I was a single woman doing my own thing, I was actually the healthiest. Okay, so that's what it is. So you can actually find time when you prioritize, you do not have any other responsibility, but life is not like that, right? I came back to India and I was like, I was the healthiest when I came back to India, and then I started working again, and then I was actually hunting for a job, and meanwhile, I came back to my home cooked food after a long time, started eating whatever was home cooked, and then I realized that I was losing all what I put into, all the effort that I put into, right? So that's when I started running. I said, okay, let me run a 10K. So I started practicing for it, ran a 10K, and after that got plantar fasciitis. So I don't know if you guys know, but my foot started paining and I couldn't really walk and do all that. And that was when I was heaviest in my life. So that's when I decided I cannot walk, I cannot exercise anymore. So what am I going to do, right? So that's when I decided I'll do some calorie restriction and look after my diet. So I did that, and I lost more weight than I did ever with physical fitness. And so basically that was the first time in my life I ever dieted. And this was probably when I was 35 years old. And I realized that either it's this or that. And if you want to balance, like there are times you cannot be physically fit, or you're just not of that, of that nature. You don't have to be, but you have to take care of your health. Either this way or that way. Some amount of physical fitness is important, whether it's walking, whether it's running, whether, like she said, if it's a sport or mixed martial arts or gymming, some form of physical fitness is important, but do it to your best capability, your best capability, whatever it is. And find that time for yourself to do it. Like any time that suits you, and make it a habit if you have responsibilities. The only time when you don't have to make it a habit is when you have no other responsibility, right? And we are all people who have responsibilities. So, and then when I joined my workplace, Jaideva is a government hospital, and I was setting up the department, okay? And I was there, because I was setting up the department, I was there from 7 to 7 in the evening, even though it was a government hospital. So again, life took over. So what did I do? I actually wore ankle weights to work, because I was like, okay, I don't have any time to do, and I want to, just get physically fit, and I wanted some way to like strength train, but I don't have any time. So I said, fine, let me work. I'll walk around, but I'll walk with ankle weights. Okay. So that actually helped me get into some kind of mode of physical fitness. Then I had my second child. And when I had my second child, to get back, I was already pretty old by the time I had my second child. And when I had that, I was like, okay, now how do I get back? So 6 months into, 5 months into, I said, okay, I have about a month left of maternity leave. So let me just get back into some kind of physical fitness. And I'm never going to find this time once I get back to work. So I started playing badminton at that point in time, started helping with coaching the kids and stuff here, and just started playing badminton and getting back to that, that mental state of where physical fitness is important. And then I went back to work, and COVID hit. No, I had the kid during COVID. So yeah, I had the kid during COVID. So in my pregnancy, all that I did was walked after every meal. And I was the healthiest when I was pregnant, actually. In my third trimester, all that I did was walk for 30 minutes after every meal. And I was so healthy, and I was so fit. But then after that, when I was nursing, was when I was super hungry and I ate anything and everything. So the nursing time was when I got really unhealthy. And then after that, to get back to fitness, I started playing badminton. And the other thing I did during COVID, when we couldn't really, before I got pregnant, or when I couldn't, go out and do any physical fitness, but we still had to get to the hospital, is again cycle to work. So there was no traffic. Traffic came down, so it was safe to cycle. So I actually cycled to work, and I used to stay in Rajajinagar, and I used to go to my hospital is in Banargata Road. So I used to cycle 30 kilometers a day. So it was really good. So there's some way or the other that you have to find. For me, physical fitness is something that is so close to my heart that I'll find some way to be fit. But there have been times in my life that I haven't been fit. Like, for example, right now in my life. Okay, I'm giving this talk at a time when I'm at my low in physical fitness. And I actually did, after my kid and everything, got back to badminton, played, I think, 1.5 years. And I actually, the last time I played here was the league BBL that happens in January here. And people were like, wow, Ashita, you've improved, you played so well and all that. And then after that, life took another turn with one of my close family falling sick. So with that, the tension level in the family increased, and my time in the morning was required. So I lost that time that I had, the habit that I had with 7 to 8 in the morning, and then that's it, over. From February till now, I've hardly even played. So what did I do again? Went back to my diet. But the thing is, the stress levels are so much that with work and with whatever's happening in my family and with health issues and everything, that even the diet went in all directions. Then what did I do? I went back to the nutrition application thinking that, okay, can I log back and see where I'm actually going wrong to see where I need to cut down. Okay, so did I do that? It didn't work as well as it worked when I was much younger. Then I said, okay, let me go play badminton. One day, I told my friend, okay, just give me a call whenever you go, that may motivate me to come. So I tried to go to the gym with her. I went one day, I saw people chatting while they were on a treadmill. It didn't work for me. So I decided, okay, I cannot be chatting when I'm exercising. That's no for me, because I have only half an hour to 45 minutes to exercise. So during that, I need to concentrate on my, exercise. So that's when I was like, okay, that's not working out for me. I've tried multiple times going to do that. I've tried playing badminton, but it's never really worked out. But even then, so now I'm watching what I'm eating, but I'm through the lowest in my physical fitness, through a time when I'm at my lowest. But I'm still, I am feeling a little, not so healthy. But there are times in our lives when we need to give priority to some things, and then we just hope that this time will pass, and then we can get back to the way that we were.
So not the big things with bad only was military. But when she did, we were and then she was also really good at that and go. We will talk about that. Go.
Yeah. So I'm a cardiothoracic radiologist. Okay, so I'm not a cardiologist, I'm not a cardiothoracic surgeon, I'm not a gynecologist, I'm not a general physician. So basically, this is not my area of expertise, but I'm a doctor. So I'm just letting you know, but please go and read up whatever I say and make sure that, you have evidence for it before you guys do anything about it. But definitely, physical fitness and nutrition and mental health have an impact on your, whether it's reproductive health, whether it's cardiovascular health, everything, okay, it has an impact. And there is evidence that's come out that, a physical fitness has more impact on women's health rather than male health. More impact on the little amount of physical fitness a woman does has more impact on her health than the amount of physical fitness that a man has to do to have impact on his health. So I think a little goes a long way for us, which is really important to know. And with respect to reproductive health, being absolutely healthy and keeping your mental health as well as physical health at check at any point in time in your life, especially when you're younger, and is extremely important in order to, be at the height of, the reproductive health. And I was on a panel discussion on Women's Day on cardiovascular health in women and gynecological health and women, along with a gynecologist this year. And, she did say the same thing, that even for reproductive health, nutrition and physical health have a long way to go. And definitely cardiovascular health. There is research to say, and what type of diet, there is a lot of debate on intermittent fasting, on the type of diet that helps in cardiovascular health. And there's research to say that calorie restriction on the whole and intermittent fasting have the same effect. But the problem is that for a lot of us, this all or none phenomenon works better than trying to, restrict ourselves at every meal. So a lot of us go into say, okay, I'll just, intermittently fast, rather than trying to restrict myself and, and taking that pressure on myself for every meal. But for me, when I did my calorie restriction, it was not such a big deal, because the only thing I had to do was take meals to work. And I didn't have to eat in the canteen or, in whichever place that I usually ate at. That took a lot of pressure out of my hand.
Nutrition is again something that eat.
So yeah, I just wanted to add specifically, is this on? I wanted to just add to what Nidhi asked about reproductive health and general gynecological health, right? This is obviously, again, not a doctor's opinion, but anecdotal. I noticed that when I joined litigation, the first thing that went wrong with my body was my periods. I don't know if many of you share this experience, but the first thing that happened was my periods were more painful and they were more irregular. I do believe that the stress of just being at the job and the stress of the job had an impact on it. And the minute I started working out regularly, that reduced. That is my personal experience. And I do believe that making it a point to do at least 15-20 minutes of exercise really helps with your period pain when it is caused directly by by stress. Of course, if you have other medical problems, it's a different thing. But I have also noticed this now as a partner. When I speak to some of the more junior associates in office, I do notice that suddenly they're faced with migraines that they probably didn't experience as much when they were in college. They're suddenly faced with periods that are irregular, periods that are more painful. I do think there's a link. I don't know what that link is. I am not qualified to say. But when I started working out, it all became a lot easier for me. Not just this, but the constant falling sick. Getting these smaller colds, getting tiny fevers, like on a more regular basis. I find personally that my immunity has improved. Again, all anecdotal. I have nothing to prove this one way or that. But I have found that the times that I'm more regular with my physical fitness, that I'm overall a lot healthier with these small things.
No, definitely. There's a lot of research to say that physical fitness goes a long way, and nutrition. Both of them go hand in hand, along with now mental health. There's a lot of awareness about mental health and how to deal with stress and stuff. So I think all this goes a really long way, and to our reproductive health, as well as our physical health. So everything is linked. So if you are physically active, you're mentally in a better space. And if you're mentally in a better space, you eat healthy. And if you eat healthy, you're physically more fit. And if you're physically more fit, you start eating more healthy. So it's a good cycle to be in. But if you stop any one of those, then you can get into the wrong cycle. And everything is as vicious as the other. Like if you start breaking the cycle, it can go into another vicious cycle where you eat more, you're like, it's okay, you become slack, and then you have to be super strong at every point in time in order to be perfect. Okay, but the thing is, there's not only one way to be perfect. It's not like you have to have that physical activity to be perfect. You can go the nutrition way for some time till you can get back to the physical activity, because one thing leads to another. As I said, better nutrition will help you feel better in terms of losing weight, in terms of feeling more healthy. So as soon as you feel more healthy, you feel like, oh, okay, I'm more healthy, I'm more lighter. I can start getting into a little bit of physical activity. You're mentally more, much better. You're more active. So you start doing better work. You start concentrating on your work better. And then you're like, oh, okay, so now I can make mental space for this too. So, everything is interlinked.
Quite an insightful session, actually. Thank you to both of you. I have a very, not a silly question, but this 10,000 steps because of Fitbit and Strava, everyone talking about it. Does it really actually have an effect or help get better or anything?
So there is conflicting evidence about it, but obviously it is not bad, right? In the sense that conflicting evidence to the extent to which it is effective on your health, but it is some amount of physical activity that you'll do, right? So it's not harmful in any way.
Okay, I have another question. I can finish? Yeah. In terms of tests, I think medical tests, you cross the age of 40.
Yeah.
Some of us at least. Is there anything specific, apart from the CBCs or regular tests, the sugar and the BP, anything that we should actually start doing?
Yeah, for women, the mammogram and...
That is annual, we should actually try.
Yeah. No try. Breast cancer is preventable. No, do not try. Have to do it. Physical fitness, you can go through a slack, but not for not mammogram. Unfortunately, it's the most painful procedure. But then, it's one of the most painful things to do, but then you have to. So basically, the guidelines in...
But I also had
What is the sonogram?
That's what they...
Okay. So you guys go to your breast specialist and definitely, go and talk to them to find the latest guidelines. But I think the latest guidelines is yearly mammogram. But I think going to someone who is specialized in breast imaging as well as gynecological, this one will help you know what's the annual, what's the guidelines in India right now. There are some countries which say every 2 years, and there are some countries which believe that it has to be done every year. It totally depends on, country to country. And basically, you don't want to miss cancer that can grow between 2 mammograms. And it is something that you cannot miss after the age of 40. And different countries have different age to start with also, depending upon the prevalence in that country. So you can definitely go speak to someone, ask for an appointment with your gynecologist or your breast imaging specialist, and definitely speak to them and, raise your concerns and stuff, and definitely get your screening done.
Thank you.
which was seeing that.
Yeah. So I think, see, again, I'm not the best at that. I'm not the qualified expert. But HPV vaccine, the upper limit is 45 years or 44 years, I think, right now for women, and the time that you have to give as kids is, I think, 9 to 14 years is the time that you give for kids. So I think do definitely talk to your specialist and find out what's the exact age group. But then it's, I think, 44 years is the upper limit, since many of us are reaching that. I know the upper limit. And because I have a kid who's around the same age, so I know that it's 9 to 14 years around is when it is indicated. But definitely go speak to the specialist and find out more about it. It is something that is recommended right now because cervical cancer is preventable with this. It does not only help in cervical cancer and many others too. But yeah.
Hi. I don't know whether you guys covered this topic particularly. If you have a break in between your workout session, for example, you went through, I did not cover Anupama's session. Like you were saying that you had pregnancy and then you took a break and there were, what is the triggering factor or what is that motivates you to get over that inertia? Like, you won't have work for a couple of months. And what, if you can just tell us, like, how do you get over with it? say like you've been planning, okay, I'll go tomorrow. But that one day never comes.
Yeah.
It's like once you take a break. So how do we get over that?
So that's a great question, and that's something that I'm currently struggling with. So I don't know if I'm the right person to give you the right answer, but there are so many times in my life that I've gone through the same phase and I've gotten over it. But there is, sometimes friends and forming a community really helps, wherein you have someone else to motivate you, who you actually, for her, a sparring partner, for me, a badminton coach or a marker or some player along with me, or or someone who I can take a walk with. But having someone to do something with or motivate you, take that extra step, find a friend who can take that extra step to get you back into that, is something that has always helped me. Because already, if you've already lost that habit, it's difficult to get back into that mental state to, get back to that whole beautiful circle of physical activity, nutrition, and mental health that we had. But finding a partner in doing this is something that's always worked out for me. Or finding that something has completely gone wrong, like in terms of your bloods, in terms of your blood work, in terms of your lab results, in terms of probably, you just looking at the weighing scale. Yeah. It's either something super scary that, that you don't want it to like progress, that has helped you get back to, where you were. Or it is something that might happen, scary, that might happen because of your family history that you want to keep a track of. Or it is a partner a real friend who can help you with it, because you guys, all of you work like this. So finding someone in your own zone, like all of you may not be doing the same amount of physical activity, may not be interested in the same things, but finding someone who can be interested, maybe, even your partner at work, partner away from work, partner at home, whoever it is, like, or your children itself, if they are into physical activity, making sure that, if you're going to go and drop them at some class, using that time to like enroll yourself in the same class sometimes helps. Because when I started off, I enrolled my daughter into badminton, and then I started playing badminton again after my second pregnancy. So that's how I did it. So if when I enrolled my daughter for gymnastics, I started doing gymnastics with her. I got a gymnastics coach to come home and teach my daughter gymnastics, and I decided, okay, I'm going to do gymnastics again. It was easier for me because I had to spend that time with my daughter. There was no one else to take care of her. So it was easier to do. And during COVID, when there was no other activity that I could do beyond my premises, my daughter wanted to skate, so I would skate with her. My daughter wanted to cycle, I would cycle with her. So you have to find someone. I'm not talking about only your work or your personal life, or, you can even find your children to find that space to do your work, to do your physical activity.
Yeah. Yeah, like I don't know if you were there, Priyanka, when I was talking about it, but pay someone. When you spend money on it, the chances that you stick to it are greater. So pay a coach. I mean, it could be just initially get them to come home. Like she said, build a community. Find something easy. Something that I've found easier to do is to find something that's convenient. I start small. Start on a Saturday, start on a Sunday. Start small. Start with something that's easy and slowly scale it up. If you try to go all out, say from tomorrow I'm going to join the gym and I'm going to make it 4 days, it's not going to happen. You're going to make it 4 days on the first week. The second week, you're not good to go. Let's be honest. We are all, it's very easy. So I think we have to trick our brains, honestly, unless you're so motivated and you've always been a sports person, you've always been into it. So it's in your blood, and without it, you do not function. It's very hard to find that motivation. You have to rely on making it a habit. And you cannot rely on motivation because it does not work. Motivation doesn't work for anything. It doesn't work for work. It doesn't work for fitness. It doesn't work for anything. It has to become a habit. That's how I do. And like she said, sometimes it's a scare. I personally had a scare this year. And sometimes it can be something so inane, like I had given up working out. I was eating junk because I was going through a lot. Like a lot was happening in my life. I could not focus. And then I met a friend I had not met for a long time. And then I was on some medication which made me gain weight. And I was just like in this bad cycle, like she put it. That cycle kept reinforcing. And then the thing that pulled me out, as inane as it sounds, is a very good friend saying, you know, you look like you've put on weight. And they came from a very good place because they knew how much I valued physical fitness, right? And it's something that inane just snapped me out of it. And I said, enough. I cannot do this to myself anymore. Somewhere I have to break the cycle. And once, like she said, very right, you break that cycle at one place and you will just find yourself in a different loop. It just happens. It's true. As much as, as very airy-fairy as it sounds, it's true. Sorry, you were going to say something.
It's pointed to you. I just wanted to make a suggestion which has worked for me. So the history is that I've lost around 20 kgs of weight 10 years back. With this Pinkerton thing I had joined, and ultimately I became Pinkerton ambassador also. And what worked for me was group. Every Saturday, Sunday we used to meet at Kaban Park. And I think I was most beautiful that time because I lost so much weight. And now when I see my pictures of that time, I can see my face glow and all that. And now I have turned 50. Since 5 years, I haven't worked out at all. But I learned Instagram. I did not know Instagram those days. So I learned Instagram. One thing that is working for me now, since 4-5 months, I have found a yoga teacher online. I was totally against yoga teachers online and all that, but I have done yoga all my life. So I was like, chalo, somebody will at least motivate me to come to the class. So 7:30 she pings me, good morning. That means, are you coming? So I'm like, I will be there in 5 minutes. I'll be there. And I'll tell her I have a court matter today. So by 9 o'clock, you have to finish it. Like that. So 7:30 to 9 is our class. And we do all pranayam and all. She charges me 200 rupees. My per hour charge is so much more. She thinks that she's charging me too much, right? And I'm like, you don't know what you are doing for me. So that online teacher has really helped me just because she's an alarm. I can do much better yoga than her, but she is my person where I need to present myself. First thing. Second thing that has helped me is that I have created my highlights on my Insta, where I write day 7 of 100, day 8 of 100, how many days I have been working out. Some people see my stories. I put it on my story and they all clap. When they clap, I really feel good. I'm like, chalo, 5 logon ne 5 people have liked today. So whatever. And it also creates a kind of accountability. And I just take a picture of myself in my work gear, sometimes on my mat, sometimes doing some pose, sometimes some funny thing. But I post that I have done some workout today. It is my own accountability, and other people also enjoy. Some people write to me that they are inspired. And also I have paid money at a swimming pool. And so I have just paid money. I have gone there only twice. But I have paid money and I keep reminding myself, okay, I need to go. Acha, theek hai, next Tuesday I'll go. Because Tuesday to Friday, the pool allows us to come. So Tuesday to Friday is my pool time. Other days are my yoga time. So schedule I have made. 7 to 9 is my schedule. If I go to pool, from pool itself, I go to the courts. So like that. So mentally, to prepare yourself mentally ki, this is my work schedule. Even if I have an argument in High Court, I cannot read it. 7 to 9 to nahi padhna hai. Uske baad we have to be in the court. I can maybe revise it in the court itself. But no, like I used to have jitters earlier कि आज argument है, आज बहुत सारा है, 3 matters in a day, how will I do it? But now I am able to do it because that is a sacred time, like how you suggested. Yeah. Thank you so much. And this talk, I think God has brought me today because I was really struggling with all this. Thank you so much, Nidhi.
With you at lunch. There are several things you have brought up, both of you: strength training, making it a habit, which is the most important thing, I think, which is where we all fail. Then, of course, monitoring our relationship with food. So, in a relationship with food, complicated. We need to work on that. And you also mentioned spiritual health. You said there's no flip side to physical fitness and, going for your annual health checkup, etc. So this has been extremely helpful. Thank you all for making it in the rain. And we let our panelists go off and get some lunch with the rest of us. And thank you, everyone. We are going to watch. Yeah. We'll watch what they're eating now. Yeah. But I don't think there's anything healthy. So we've tried.
Thanks, Nidhi, for having me here. And it was so wonderful talking to all of you. And I think this is going to be my motivation to get back to my physical fitness.
Thank you.